Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to yourplaymat.com where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from yourplaymat.com. Welcome YouTube. Thank you so much to everyone that is joining me now, and any questions you do put in regarding the Gizmek OTK Mecha Beast power profile, just let me know and I'll answer them as we go. So with all of that out of the way, I'm going to dive straight first into the profile so you guys can see how it comes together, what it is and what it does. Now bear with me, I am trying to multitask where at all possible to bring this to you live tonight. So if ever one of you wants to see a preview of this, now's the time to see it. Otherwise, it's going to be going out as a separate video tomorrow. So you start off with triple of the Gizmek Fox. So this one is, while there are 6 or more of your cards that are banished, it doesn't need to be face up, face down. As long as it is banished, you're good to roll. You can normal summon this card without tribute. When you do, you get to ditch a card. If it's normal or special in general, you get to discard one monster to add a monster whose attack equals its own defense, except himself, from your deck. And then if this card in the monster zone is destroyed, you shuffle 6 of your banished cards into the deck. So it gives you recyclability, it gives you your searchability, and the idea is that you want to get to your other Gizmeks, or the Gizmek's mainly going to be Orochi, but anything else that you kind of want to play off the back of as well. The second that we play is triple of the Hog. So this one is basically just if you control a machine monster whose attack equals its defense, you can special summon this card from the hand for pretty much free. You can banish this card from the graveyard to target a machine card. Keep that in mind. Machine monster, sorry, you control whose attack equals his own defense. You send a machine monster from your deck to the grave whose attack equals his own defense with a lower level than that targeted monster. And if you do, the targeted monster gains attack equal to the level of the monster that you sent times 100. So it's a nice little boost, but ideally it's just going to be there as a free body on the board. Then, of course, Orochi. Everyone should know what Orochi does by now. This is obviously banish 8, special summon itself from hand or grave as a quick effect, but you can only use one of the following effects per turn, and that is the special summon ability that I just described, or the ability to banish 3 monsters from your extra deck to then target a face-up monster specifically and destroy it. So, but this is your Mat Daddy, this is your boss monster, this is pretty much how it rocks and rolls. We've then got Double Uka, the Fox. Now this actually has some very nice synergy with the Kaijus, because what you can actually do is this effect special summons itself if a monster or monsters is special summoned from the main deck. It doesn't need to be your opponent. So what you can ultimately do is you normal summon any of your Gizmeks, interrupt your Kaiju Slumber your own board, special summon out the Kaiju to your opponent's side of the field and a Kaiju to your opponent's side of the field, trigger Uka. Uka will then special summon itself, and then off the back of that, if it is normal or special, you get to target a face-up monster your opponent controls and special summon a monster from your deck whose attack equals its defense with the same attribute. So obviously, because you're playing the Kaijus, you will adapt the Kaijus to what you see fit. At current, we are running 1 light, 1 dark, 1 wind, and of course 1 water. So what that gives you access to is it does give you access to your Orochi, which is your most important one. It does give you access to the Hog should you want it, and it can also get you into your Makami, which is very, very important. So you can tailor the Kaijus to A, what you think you're going to be facing, and B, your particular deck and play strategy. Off the back of that, what is really good about the Kaijus is it can adapt with Super Poly in your main deck should you choose to go that route, and I'll explain what you can put in its place. Then, of course, we've got Double of the Rabbit. So this one is specifically when it's normal summoned, which is why I've cut it down to 2, because it is very specific. But when you do, you get to special summon a machine monster whose attack equals his own defense from your hand in defense position. Banish this card from the graveyard to target a machine monster you control whose attack equals his own defense. This turn you can't declare attacks except with that particular monster, and its attack and defense become the combined original attack of all machine monsters you currently control whose attack equal their defense. So basically if you put loads of Kaijus on the board, loads of Gizmeks on the board, you can literally just go cool, banish, beef this one Gizmek and just go ham. We've then got 2 of the Frog. So if it is normal or special, you get to take a machine monster whose attack equals its own defense from your deck and place it on the top of the deck. So it's a little bit rare. That's probably more so if you play the field spell. It's mainly his grave effect that you're going to want.
So you get to target a machine monster in your graveyard, banish this card from the graveyard, target a machine monster in your graveyard whose attack equals its own defense, and special it in defense. So that's kind of the recursion play that this provides. We've got the one chicken, which technically is not a chicken, it's probably like more like a rooster. You contribute one machine monster whose attack equals its own defense to special summon from the deck one machine monster whose attack equals its own defense but with a lower level than the tributed monster. Banish this card from the graveyard to add to your hand one of your banished face-down machine monsters whose attack equals its own defense. So that's where obviously Gizmek is going to come into play. And the draw card of Desires that we are main decking. Then we've got the one Kaku. So because we're going second, if you look at the current meta decks, mainly so, well, technically you get Appaloosa, but you also get with Appaloosa with Tri-Brigade and Directron, so a free special summon of this one, and then you have the ability to pretty much steal the Appaloosa if you want to. Very rare that's going to happen, but it is just a free monster. The one giant dragon that reminds me of Shenron. So the idea behind this is if two monsters special summon from the extra deck are on the field, you can special summon this card from the hand. So it's a nice way of if you played through all of your opponent's interruptions, if they still have an Appaloosa and a Shurag on the board, you can special summon this guy for free, pay 1500 life points, destroy all monsters on the field that was specialed from the extra deck, and then just attack with him. So he's a nice little board wipe. Off the back of that as well, he is just a nice free summon. You can banish this if it is in your possession, is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect. You get to banish one monster your opponent controls and then gain life points equal to its attack. So very specific, but it is just another one-punch boss monster. Then, of course, we've got the Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon. So this is just part of the tech that comes off of the back of popping Gear Town. Plus, its attack equals its own defense, so it can obviously have a bit of synergy with the other Gizmeks. But 9 out of 10, you want this buried in your deck so that you can pop Gear Town, special it from the deck, unlocks you the access to Link Freeze, and then additional plays from there. For the Kaijus, as I've already shown you, we've got the one Gameciel, the one Godala, the one Raiden, and the one Thunder King, the Lightning Strike Kaiju. This can be the other Thunder one if you want. What is also really good as well is if you don't want to leave your opponent with a Kaiju, that combo that I explained, which ultimately is nuking your own board, does leave you with your opponent having a Kaiju, you have a Kaiju, plus you've got the Fox. So what you do is you turn your Kaiju plus the Gizmek that you summon off of the Fox. So maybe let's say it's Orochi. You can turn those into Verte Anaconda, make Dragoon. Dragoon can then pop the Kaiju that you give your opponent, already minimizing them by 3,300 life points. And then the Fox is going to constantly burn away at them every time they normal or special. So that's going to be a bonus. Plus they've got to play through Goon. If you don't want to go the Goon route, of course, that can go into something like an IP Masquerena, which can lead you into like a Topology Zero Boros or anything along those lines. The one hand trap that we're playing is the Gamma package, purely because that when you see the spells, we play stuff like Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Obviously, you don't want to Gamma protect that, but if it's going to lead you to combo, Gamma protecting that is going to be very important. The Gamma and the driver will get destroyed, which is also pretty good because it puts the driver back into the grave. You've also got Desires, you've got Twin Twisters, you've got Forbidden Droplets, you've got Urgent Schedules as well, you've got Reasoning, and if you sack Red Eyes Fusion as well. So there is kind of like, well, less of the Red Eyes Fusion, but there are kind of a lot of spells that you want to protect with this. Plus you've got the graveyard effect of some of your Gizmeks. So if they try to like Orochi you, or they try to stop the Orochi activating in hand, you Gamma them, get rid of it. If they try to banish your Orochi, Gamma them, bring it back, good to go. Obviously the 2 bricks of Red Eyes and Dark Magician. The Goon package is just too strong right now. It really is. And in a deck like this, like I said, a first turn combo, which is ultimately, depending on the Gizmek you open, is like 2 cards. And that kind of gets you everywhere you need to go. 2 plus 3 cards, I suppose. And then obviously you're ending the board on the Dragoon, 2 cards in the hand, maybe 3 depending on what Gizmek you put into the graveyard. Orochi that can come back from the graveyard as well. Keep that in mind that you would have special summoned it, not using its own effect, so you can bring that back. And then it can go for Link Climbs Higher and everything else on the back of that. Triple Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, of course, Mac Daddy, Boss Monster, clear the board, do the combo, you know, it's how it is. Triple Desires, you can play Extra, but I actually want to control my extra deck a lot more right now. So that's something that I'm definitely keeping an eye on. Depending on your local environment, we've gone with double Twin Twisters. Obviously, if you're expecting to face a lot of back row, you can put in Twin Twisters, Heavy Storms, anything you like, or Feather Dusters. But Twins for this actually works out really nicely. And then obviously I've got 2 Forbidden Droplets. If you don't have the droplets, you can go for a Super Poly. Super Poly is just as effective if the right format is being played. Now, obviously, Against Tri-Brigade, it's going to be a lot harder to kind of deal with that, so you might want to put imperms in there to turn off the Appaloosa, and then you've got your Gizmeks to make your plays through. So, you know, it really comes down to your personal play style, your personal preference, and your local environment. Double urgent schedule. So if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon a level 4 or lower and a level 5 or higher Earth Machine. Now the issue with this card, as great as it is your targets are literally just going to be the Fox and the Frog. Now the Frog obviously has great graveyard synergy with the rest of the deck, so that's where that can work out really, really nicely for you. But the idea is that, again, you go second, you get 2 free monsters on the board. If your opponent doesn't deal with it, that's Verte Dragoon. If they do deal with it, then obviously you only used 1 card, you've still got more to play through. The one, obviously, we've got the 1 Gear Town, I'll explain that in the combo, the 1 Reasoning, and then the 1 Red Eyes Fusion. So obviously Reasoning works really, really well in the deck because you play, I'm pretty sure you play all the way 1s to 9s of different levels. So it should, 9 to that 10, unless your opponent calls the Saki number correctly, be a almost instant summon. Moving on to the extra deck, and there is a lot of flex spots in the extra deck, but it comes down to your personal preference, again, your play style and what you have available to you. So we'll go over the fusions first. Of course, Dragoon is what it is. It's just too strong not to be playing. Mud Dragon for Super Poly in the side deck, 1 Starving Venom for Super Poly in the side deck. If you want to main Super Poly, then of course these are absolutely fine. If you don't want anything to do with Super Poly, then these can easily become more of the Topologics. You can become an Avramax, you can become a double IP Masquerena. It really depends on your personal playstyle. Speaking of which, we are playing the 1 IP Masquerena, the 1 Platinum Gadget, just because it gives you that ability to special the level 4 or lower any of your Gizmeks from the hand. It can't be used as link material the turn it's summoned, so keep that in mind, that ideally your play you're going to try and make once you make this is you're going to try and want to get to an IP Masquerena, and that's where your Avramax is, or a 2 Negate Appaloosa. 1 Ancient Gear Ballista. So this card's actually really good, but again, it's very specific. Off of the back of your Urgent Schedule, this is how you can make this card, because Urgent Schedule brings you out your 2 Earths. Your 2 Earths go into this. When this is link summoned, you get to add an Ancient Gear monster or Gear Town. So you add the Gear Town. You then get to target a spell or trap you control, which would be the Gear Town, and 1 monster your opponent controls. You destroy that card you control, and if you do, and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, destroy that card you control, and if you do, change your opponent's monster's attack to 0. That will then let you trigger Gear Town, which gives you, of course, Reactor Dragon for free. Continuing with the link monsters, of course, Verte Anaconda is what it is, not going to spend too much time on it. Phoenix into a Trisbania, just to deal with back row. Nightmare Unicorn. Your BLS, so again, if you don't have access to it, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. That's where you can bump up Trisbania, you can go into Bomber Dragon, you can go into Cerberus as well. It's entirely up to you. The 1 Appaloosa for our link for, the 1 access code, again, you're probably going to be going into your Zero Boros more. So if you don't have access to this, then obviously it can become a second Zero Boros. If you do, happy days, access code goes in. And then the last card is Omega, because at the end of the day, if you do Gamma during your turn, you might as well benefit from it and go into an Omega, which can then rip one from your opponent's hand, cause them more issues. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. I can see from the live stream camera that the quality hasn't been the greatest, so this is definitely something I'm going to be looking into going forward. This was just a little test to kind of trial it out, but I hope if you've watched the video back after this, that you kind of enjoyed it. If you did, then please smash that like button. Getting the video to at least 50 likes will unlock a test hand video for this particular deck, and hopefully that helps you out as well. For those of you still watching live, I will happily do a quick snippet test hand video if you would like. Otherwise, please stay safe, like, comment, subscribe, share, and as absolutely always, stay safe and happy dueling.
Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to Yourplaymat.com, where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from Yourplaymat.com.